Hey everybody, Joe Vanourney, Cherry the Geek TV. We are here at the 19th annual Omaha Film Festival with director Lisa Downs, who's directed an amazing new film, a documentary called Life After The Neverending Story. Now this is the third film in a series of Life After films. You previously directed Life After Flash, which was about the 1980 Flash Gordon movie. You've directed Life After Navigator, which was about the 1985 Disney film Flight of the Navigator. I'm curious, how did this Life After series start? What was kind of the process to, and what are the criteria that you use to select the films that you make the documentaries about?
Well, that is a very good question. I didn't set out to make a documentary about Flash Gordon or to make a series of documentaries. I was at a point in my career, I knew I wanted to make documentaries, I wanted to do feature documentaries, but I didn't know what. I was kind of looking for topics, and I had just quit my job and gone freelance and thought, you know, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it now. And a girl that I had been working with met Sam Jones through an English TV show called The Jump, which is British, terrible reality show about celebrities doing Olympic ski jumps, which, you know, I don't know how they get insured for that, but they do. And he didn't get to actually be on TV because he broke his shoulder. So they got to know each other in the hospital. And I was talking to her at a party and I said, I love Flash Gordon. You know, I would love to meet him. I wonder what he's been doing. And then that developed into Life After Flash. And then during Flash, we just thought it could be a really interesting series. And so then I was like, had a list of films I would love to do. And then Googled Joey Kramer, as you do, you go down a rabbit hole, and then learned what happened to him and managed to get hold of him. And then Neverending Story was also on my list, and it took a while to get hold of Noah, but we did. And so that's kind of, it all happened organically, I think. I like to think it found me. And criteria-wise for a film, you know, I couldn't have done it without Sam for Life After Flash, so it has to be certain characters or actors need to be involved with it. And I still have a really long list of films that I want to do, but it was just I happened to find Joey at the time. It took a couple of years to get hold of Noah, and then that timing worked out really well. So I feel like everything happens how it should with these films.
So you mentioned Noah Hathaway, who plays Atreyu. He's one of the two main through line people in the film. Tami's who plays the childlike empress is the other one. Tell people who else is in the film. Who did you get from the Neverending Story world to appear in the documentary?
It's so bizarre for me to even say, because I am such a huge fan of Neverending Story, so I have to keep pinching myself that I've been meeting these people that made this iconic film. So obviously Noah and Tami. We spoke to Limahl, who obviously famously sang the theme song, and Kajagoogoo. Klaus Doldinger, we went to Hamburg to interview him. He was the composer. Alan Oppenheimer, who did a lot of the voices. Deep Roy, Herben Weigel, who was the scriptwriter. Katja Eichinger, who was the wife of Bernd Eichinger, the very famous producer. Just an array of people. Jason James Richter, who was in the third one. Keith Coogan, who was a huge fan. So it's just been really fun to meet these people to celebrate the legacy of such an iconic movie. It's been so amazing. Now,
sadly, one of the people that you had agreed to appear in the documentary was the director, Wolfgang Petersen, who passed away before you got to get him interviewed. Talk about that process and I guess just talk through that, what that was like, getting him and then losing him.
I mean, it's heartbreaking because he's done some amazing films outside of Neverending Story, and I really just wanted to be in his presence and to meet him and say hi and just hear his side of the story of what happened on set and just hear his process, you know, what, as a director, what he was going through at the time, and just learn from him. So he had said yes in January 2020. I'll always kick myself. I was producing a show for Sky Arts in England, and that was ending in March. So I was thinking about, should I go out in February and just, you know, take the opportunity? He said, yes, let's get out. And I thought, no, I can't do that. I've got a contract and I'll go out in March. So we booked tickets for late March, early April. And then obviously everything shut down, so I didn't get to go out. And then by the time we got back out, he obviously was sick, and so we never actually got to interview him, and it's really heartbreaking. But I feel like we do justice to him in the film and honor him. But I would have loved to have met him. That'll always be my shoulda, woulda.
Now, speaking of Limahl, that song, the Neverending Story song that he sings, is my favorite part of that film. And when you're interviewing him, I'm curious, did he take you into the room where he keeps his magical youth elixir? Because this guy, did you do what I did when you watch the movie? You pull out your phone and you Google how old is Limahl, because he looks like he's like 25, and then you just start doing the math, and you're like, wait a minute, the Neverending Story is 40. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary, so he's got to be at least 40. But wait, he wasn't a baby when that movie came out. He was a man, at least 20. And you're like, there's no way he's 60. And then you look up his age, and you're like, oh my gosh, but he looks fantastic.
He was our very first interview, and funnily enough, where we picked for the interview was the very first studio he recorded the first Kajagoogoo single in London, in Dean Street. So it was this really nice little full circle. But he was so lovely, and I could not believe his age, and I refuse to believe he's that old. And he was everything you hoped for, and he was just such a wonderful interviewee, and I would definitely like to know what he is like, what's in the water.
What is the secret?
Yeah, he's lovely.
What do you think are the qualities about the original Neverending Story movie that makes it so beloved? What is it that people find so endearing about it?
I think it was in the time in the 80s when kids finally saw movies with characters their own age. You could relate to being 11 and seeing Tami, or 12 and seeing Noah. And I think it was a film, again, the wonderfulness of 80s films. They showed heartbreak and loss and trauma, but love and hope and just inspiration, and it was this whole overwhelming mix of emotions that you felt, and you felt inspired by the end of it, and you felt like you had gone on this adventure. And I feel like films a lot of times these days are trying to protect kids, and it's very kind of top level stories, but 80s kids just had everything, and it felt like you had kind of just, you're in like this secret club of like, you were traumatized by Artax, I was traumatized by Artax as well, and it just had so many emotions. And even when I think about the film, I remember when I was little and what I was feeling at the time, when I wanted to be Tami and I wanted to ride Artax and go on these adventures and hide away in an attic and read a book. And I just think it had such an impact on kids that it's so special now as adults that we just connect with it still so much, because it was so magical as a kid. It was just, it's such a magical story.
So where can people, I'll ask before we wrap it up, you've been taking the film on the festival circuit. You played a couple festivals. You won Best Documentary at the Kevin Smith Smodcastle Festival. You won Best Documentary last week at the Boston Sci-Fi and Fantasy Festival. What's it like taking this film, taking it out to audiences, seeing their reactions, winning? It's always nerve-wracking. We didn't do a huge festival run this year, so for Flash we did a whole year. For this one we really want to just get it out and let even more people see it. I'm always nervous, and I learnt from Sam Jones when we were screening Flash. He's like, it doesn't matter how many people are in the audience, as long as you just connect with one person. If it's just one person in the audience, you make a difference to them, then your job is done. So I feel like that takes the pressure off a little bit, but it's still nerve-wracking. You hope people maybe laugh at the right points or cry at the right points or come out feeling something at least. So the film's about to be released on Blu-ray and DVD. Tell people where they might see it and how they can order it.
So lifeaftermovies.com is our website, and the Blu-ray is very independently made, and so much love is put into it. It comes with a little booklet as well and collector's patch. It's region free, and it'll be out on streaming too from April.
Well, congratulations on the success of Life After the Neverending Story. It's a fantastic documentary. Seek it out. Lisa Downs, thanks for chatting with us today on Cherry the Geek TV.
The making of The Neverending Story was a real roller coaster ride, a wild roller coaster ride.
This movie was something that everybody could relate to.
One of the greatest films that has ever been made, in my opinion.
This is the place where the Neverending Story was shot.
The story itself is really, really profound and deep.
It gives me goosebumps even to just talk about it now.
Never-ending story.
He's got that X factor.
Noah, he's had a lot of trauma from the business.
I had to learn how to walk again.
Anybody who's been famous since they were a child to an adult, I can assure you that they're not in reality.
Yeah, cash literally saved my life. And I just lost my mom last week. Dog was much harder.
You're looking at 30 years of neglect
I know Michael Ende didn't like the film.
Wolfgang's ego became even bigger.
Diciamo, più semplice e più efficace.
And the painting is telling me what to do.
The horse was really going down there.
I tell people I got a fishbowl with dollar bills. Please take one because I know you went to therapy.
This is the first time I'm back in Munich since I was 10 years old.
So many of us as children of the 80s are now adults. We're showing it to other generations over the years, and it just remains a part of our lives.
People hark back to that time in their life before responsibility, before, dare I say, some pain.
It's perfect.
But that's another story.
Thank